All right, people, time to save America. Vote Tulsi Gabbard. I'm Dave. I am your flawed host, and I've got a few thoughts today, and some of these thoughts may upset some people here. But, I know people want cheerleading, and I get that, and I love Tulsi. There's no problem with Tulsi Gabbard. She's running a great campaign. She's running a grassroots campaign. Her events are well attended. The things that she posts, the videos she makes, the 3-word statements she makes that just put a dagger into the heart of establishment people all over the place. It's awesome. It's awesome to watch, but I'm going to say this, I'm going to keep saying this, I'm not gaining a lot of subscribers because I think I take these diversions that people don't want me to take. They want me to stay focused on Tulsi. Talk Tulsi. You'll make more money, Dave, if you just talk Tulsi all the time. I don't really care because I'm getting demonetized a lot. And then when the videos are finally monetized, I've lost the bulk of what I would have earned. So again, if you can help me out on Patreon, I don't mean to insert that in there. It's important. Patreon. I know there are a lot of people out there that are subscribed to so many different things. And money is tight. Money's going out. I had one guy say, I'm on Social Security. I wish I could do more for you. I'm like, dude, just hold on to your money. I'm just a silly page here. So just, do what you need to do for your family and so forth for yourself. But anyway, I also did a PayPal link if you want to do a one-time donation. I actually did a post on YouTube and wrote that out where you could just hit me with a one-time donation and, be done with it. You donated and life is good for you. About 3,200 subscribers. If everyone was on Patreon doing $1 a month, I would not bother you at all. I would say life is good. And then if they demonetize, they demonetize. It's just fact of life. It's getting worse. There's more censorship. But we keep going on. But here's the thing. There are difficulties up ahead, and a friend of mine, Kelly, she and I did a couple of videos together, a couple of live stream videos, and one thing that Kelly is about is the truth. She's been down this road a few times, and she sees the systemic problems. She has lived the Jill Stein quote that you can't have a revolution in a counter-revolutionary party. I never would have ever considered voting for a Green Party candidate. They just seem too elitist. They seem too narrowly focused, and I think they need to become more economic in their platform, talk about economic issues, pocketbook issues, and I've got 10 things here that if party focused on, Green Party, Democratic Party, whatever, but here they are, healthcare. The warfare state, never-ending wars, whatever you want to call it, military-industrial complex, housing costs, insane, the environment, and not just the idea of climate change, but the fact that there are toxins in our food, in our water supply, in our soil, and I watched a news report this morning. I forget which toxin it is, but it's based on a type of fertilizer we're using, and it's getting into the groundwater. And I think we're dropping the ball trying to keep people healthy in that regard. And there's all kinds of things that are affecting health out there. Infrastructure, okay, no-brainer. Education, right now, the way our education system is set up, it's a big boondoggle for universities that are getting richer and richer off the backs of these student loans that kids can never pay back. The banking industry and how it controls literally every facet of our lives. We can get money from banks, but we have to jump through hoops, and then, people get the money who don't probably not deserve it, but will say they can't afford it, and then they go belly up, and then it affects everybody else. So, break up these large banking institutions, as well as monopolies inside of big tech. If you're not concerned about that, you should be, because we need to have conversations. And those conversations need to be unfiltered. Which leads to my next point, which is free speech. And then finally, wages, which are not keeping up with the cost of inflation. And they haven't been for decades. So, and I don't know what number you put on those wages. I'm not an economist. But those are 10. I got 10 issues right here that, I could jot down. And those are the most important things. But when I see the systemic problem, and I point this out on Twitter, and specifically the debates. Okay, you've got debate moderators who are very establishment, as usual. You've got one specifically who's a conspiracy theorist who makes money off of being the most creative conspiracy theorist, and then everybody else kind of gets some of that to some degree, doesn't do it as effectively, but all of them have an agenda, and it's clear that it's not our agenda. And I was kind of, not lectured, but somebody sent me a private message saying, hey, calling out the debate moderators isn't going to be helpful. Oh, okay. First of all, I was on Twitter. I wasn't here, so now I'm bringing the video here, and I'm going to call out the debate moderators here, because I think it's grossly unfair, and this is why we need a process that goes around these corporate media outlets. And we have indie media, and Tulsi Gabbard has smartly done a ton of indie media, but she was on the other day, before her, or right during that 3-word phrase she used to talk about political calculations that a lot of candidates are making. And it was an appropriate use, by the way, of some strong language, because it conveyed the sense that the people's concerns are being overridden by political calculations. I thought it was just genius of her, but she wasn't making a political calculation doing it. She was being herself. Okay? And so there's got to be like a Joe Rogan type debate platform out there, like Joe himself. Now, I'm sure Joe Rogan wouldn't want to get involved in being, a kingmaker or queenmaker in the case of Tulsi. But you need that type of mentality. You need nuts and bolts questions. You need follow-up questions that have to do with policy. You cannot be singularly focused on something that somebody voted on because they're going to keep bringing up Tulsi's, either her voting record or her visit to Assad, or whatever it is that they're going to bring up, and you're going to think to yourself, here we go again, and issues aren't being discussed, and there's almost this herd mentality throughout all of the mainstream press. It's a herd mentality. I'm going to get to ask it first, and then someone's going to ask it again and again and again, and she can answer it. She can disavow the KKK guy a million times. Doesn't matter. They're going to keep asking the question. Meanwhile, we got these issues. And so what is your plan for making housing more affordable? Tulsi Gabbard? Pete Buttigieg? What is your plan? You won't get those types of questions. Okay? And if you get one or two like that, you'll be lucky. But then the rest of it's going to be all tribalism. You've got a Russian conspiracy hoaxer who's going to be a moderator. And to me, that is insanely problematic. And it shows you that another process, another system, another way of communicating information to millions of people, whether it be via another social media platform, could be YouTube. I would say it needs to be an upstart video channel that allows people to speak freely and upload videos and get those messages out to people. Moderators who aren't moderating but are just getting to the facts of, issues. And quite honestly, I think the whole idea of having a debate is ridiculous, because people end up voting for you because you came up with zingers, that you had a zinger against your opponent. So that makes you a better candidate. You're a better public speaker, or you're more creative in your insults. Okay, and people go, oh, I want that guy. And that has nothing to do with policy. And it has nothing to do with determining if you'll be a great president for this country. Very little. You got to be able to communicate, but look at what Trump did. Trump was a horrible communicator, yet he went up there and these little zingers and sentences and so forth, and that's the way he ended up winning. And really not on policy for the most part. Here and there he discussed policy, but I remember when he was talking healthcare, he kept saying something silly like, he wasn't even explaining it. He's like, you got to get rid of the lines. And the other people like Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio are looking at him, what are you talking about? The lines, the state lines, where you have this competition. But he didn't say it that way. He just said, you got to get rid of the lines. Get rid of the lines. And the people who followed Trump and knew the issue kind of knew what he was talking about, but the rest of the country didn't. Didn't really matter because it appeared to be kind of a zinger, and the other guys looked foolish trying to like explain to people what he was trying to say. So, in essence, the whole thing is a dog and pony show. The debate is not going to get you more information to help you make. They do these focus groups all the time. Did you learn anything last night? Yeah, I learned that Joe Biden is mean, or I learned that Kamala Harris her hair looks great. Some ridiculous thing. And we never get to really the heart of issues. And issues to me are the most important. So calling out the debate moderators is one thing. Calling out the debate format, calling out the idea that this is a dog and pony show. And so you say, well, what's the point of it? Everybody's waiting to see if Tulsi will shine in the debates. Well, is that the most important thing? Not really, but it's the system that is set up right now, and you have to operate within that system. I'm calling for a new operating system, Windows 2019, I'm calling for a new operating system. We need something, again, that goes around this dog and pony circus that we keep getting every 4 years. And people just buy into it like it's a sport. Oh, grab the popcorn. Biden against Trump. Ooh. That's not going to help people. We got this again. One more time with this. All right? So, I don't know. I'm frustrated. I will continue to call it as I see it. When it comes to debate moderators, when it comes to just the debate format, and when it comes to inherent systemic bias within the news media, especially about things that have to do with the war machine or Medicare for all, any of those issues. And by the way, we can talk these issues. We don't have to talk wedge issues. We don't have to talk about social issues, like issues dealing with people's morals and their deeply held values, religious beliefs and values. You can keep those out of this, because most people are going to practice their life as they see fit, which is a libertarian concept. What I would do is focus on the big ticket items, and if those other questions come up, it's got to be more or less, well, that's not an issue that I think the government should take up, okay, which would be a refreshing change from you're a bigot, for instance, if you don't believe in this particular concept. Just let those things go. You will get far more interest if you're talking about things that can really change and affect people's lives. So, it's my 2 cents, and Tulsi Gabbard, if she gets questions in these debates, they're probably all going to be setups. I mean, and if they're not setups, I'd be really surprised if they're not going to be setup questions. The Tulsi campaign will probably make them all into ads because she handles herself so well. But it's more or less a defensive, being on the defensive rather than being on the offensive. I talked about this when she went on with TYT, at least the first interview when she was all defensive, and when she went on with Morning Joe, that was the Lion's Den, and it was all defensive. She's got ideas, and people need to hear those ideas. This is why, we need to be going around, and we can't rely on going through the system, because to me it's just, again, I'll keep saying it, it's like a dog and pony circus. And this is why Trump did so well, because he is part of the circus. They can call him a clown all they want to, but they had a clown and they're a clown show. So why do you think he was so successful? He really operates on their level. So that's why he's the president right now. In that regard, he was really smart. But we need people who are going to actually help the American people and talk to the American people and address these issues that are just never going to be really seriously talked about. All right, I'm done. Sorry for the rant. See you soon.